Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone here to Town of Stellarton Council meeting, July 8th, 2024, at 5:30 p.m. start time here in the chambers. The first item is to approve the agenda. Is there any additions or changes to the agenda?
Yes, Your Worship. I'd like to add from the office engagement team, notice of approved regulations for an equity and anti-racism plan for municipalities and villages under correspondence.
Okay, so that'd be 6 or 5D. Any other changes or additions? Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Knight, second by Councillor Pence. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. The minutes are next. They're from June 10th. There's a public hearing as well as a regular council. They're attached or also distributed electronically. Is there any errors or omissions?
I'll second. I'll second that,
Sorry,
Your Worship.
Councillor Pence is not able to move those. He was not present.
I'll move to approve the minutes as written, Your Worship.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Knight, second by Deputy Mayor Campbell. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. Next is business arising from the minutes.
Yeah, Your Worship, can I speak on that, please?
Sure.
Yeah. I just want to give some background on the road and why we're at the point where we're at right now. I moved there 46 plus years ago. I live on Poplar, and of course the ball field isn't back of me. When I moved there at the time in Poplar Street, there was two entries into the park or into that area. There was one from Hoyt Street that went in and across, and there was another one coming up the Old Foxbrook Road. And basically, during the day, the kids would use it. Kids in the neighborhood would use it, and then at nighttime, of course, it was a mix between the kids and the adults. But back in that time, they had what they call rep teams. There was no house league there that was played on the field, so the games would have been a lot fewer than what you would have today. So the people's homes were there; they were already there. And then what happened was they played. Then we started. There was 9 of us that started the ball program. Paul was involved in coaching for us, and we used the field up in. I heard me mention there a number of years ago up in Lords. We had the field up in Lords, and we used that field in the one that was in Asheville. And then later on, I was in Cape Breton. I looked at a field. Brother-in-law was coaching a team, and I said, "Well, you know what? There's enough room to put a second field up there, and that would help alleviate." So we did. We put the second field up there. In the interim, Gary Kennedy was president, and the Rick Crow field. We went up, and I was in recreation at the time. We went up and we looked at the Rick Crow field, and the idea we proposed to make another field there. We went after the owner. I forget his name now, but he lived down the island and down towards Mount Murphy. And so we spoke to him, and I got off recreation, and it was after that they built that extra field up there, and then Rick Crow passed away. He was one of the original 9, and that's why the field's named after that. At the time, we had hoped we could put the kids on both fields and have the adults play up in Evansville. But after I left the program, that's what happened. They put the 2 kids' fields down in the asphalt and the adult fields up in the Evansville. But what happened then? They cut, because the 2 fields were there and it was it was a safety issue. They blocked off Hoyt, and then they put up no parking signs. They used to go up and park where the second field is, and they'd park around it, but the parking lot in back of it wasn't that big. It was a smaller parking lot. So they had to increase that. And then, of course, they came in and they put in the 3 soccer fields, and of course, that increased the traffic on the Old Foxbrook Road, and it was still off of, like I said, the kids would walk across. Some of the kids would walk across up in the asphalt and that, and go in through the Hoyt area. But we used to go up and pick blueberries, and we'd go up and back at Geordie Ducks. There was a well up there, and there was a big apple tree up there, and the kids used to go up and play. But then they put the 3 soccer fields in, and that wasn't too bad because then in the winter they were down. So the summer ball would start at the end of May and they'd run into September. The soccer fields, well, I guess they might play a little later in the year, but not in the winter. Excuse me. But then they put the Solby Sports Complex in there, and that got produced all-round traffic in the field. And then, of course, to sustain the complex, then you put the bingo in, and that really put extra traffic on it. So the volume of traffic that's there now is greatly increased from when that one ball field was there. There wasn't that many cars went up there at the time. Not only that, I've been up and down the road several times, and the road is narrow. I know they paved it before we came to council. And I don't know, I'm not a paving expert, but it doesn't seem like they put the same pavement down that they would put on a highway, thickness or width. So it needs to be widened. There's no doubt about it. Even the edges there, when they patched it up, they didn't patch it. I went down the other day and there's a guy come up in a white truck. I was going one way, he was passing me in the other way, and it was tight. It was tight. So the street really, going up there at 50 or 55 or 60 is criminal because it's not safe. The other thing too is there's cars up there, people trying to get out of driveways. Then you have, I saw mothers up there and fathers walking baby carriages down the street, and of course they have to mingle with the traffic. So it makes for a real dangerous area potential dangerous area where somebody could really get injured or hurt or killed or whatever. Like what I would like to see is I'd like to see the stop signs go in, but I spoke to the chief, and Chief Holback is holding off on the stop signs. He wants to put up the radar, the floating radar we have. He wants to check, I guess, the volume of traffic or the speeds traffic up there, and then he's looking at putting in the stop signs. I looked at the ditching up there and the culverts, and maybe as far as, I don't know, I don't think they have water problems up there, but as far as the culverts and that go, they're on the west side. There's nothing on the east side, so the water would have to run to the west side. So what I recommend is, I'd strongly recommend that they put in not a crosswalk, a walkway, sidewalk, down the west side with curb, right from Acadia Avenue up and end at the ball field, so that we take foot traffic safely down that street. I would also like to see them at least a foot or two, if they could, on the west side. Widen it to give it more room. I hope that would help the problem. The other thing they're asking for, and we were up and we looked at it, Paul Jerwa, myself, and Councillor Wan went up and we looked at the back end of it. Like, there was talks about putting a roadway across there, and at the time, I guess you should always look, but somebody envisioned, no, there's a swamp, we can't do it, so forth and so on. But we went up and looked at it, and the ground is solid. There's lots of room. There used to be, I guess one of the issues, there used to be a skate park there, and now that's gone. That was there a number of years ago. The council put it in. But they're not looking for a paved street. They're just looking for a dirt road that would help take the traffic off that, and that would give it its second entry. But like I said before, there was 2 ways in, and the majority of the traffic came from Hoyt. And that when that was taken out, then everything was funneled through Old Foxbrook Road along with all the other additions on the road. Anyway, thank you for your time. I just wanted to give you a little bit back history on that area.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Warren.
Thank you. I would like to add a few things as well. In the past, we have acted very quickly and decisively, and I'm going to raise my voice here because I was accused that I don't speak very loud. In the past, we have acted very quickly and decisively when it came to matters of safety, whether it was in our public works or in our water treatment plant, or I think the last example that I remember was putting up a additional sidewalk on Maple Street for the old folks home. And that was, even though the agreement amongst council at the time was that we're not going to add any additional sidewalks, but for safety reason, council have agreed outside of budget to put in that sidewalk. We face ourselves right now in the same situation that we had before, where I believe that there's a couple of streets in Stellarton that are high traffic and are integral for our children to in town to walk to the recreation facilities that we have. The first street is on Hemlock, and I tried to get a sidewalk there a couple of years ago, and I was shot down. And the second street is on Old Foxbrook Road, and as you can remember, in the last council meeting, a few of the folks on the street came and paid us a visit and talked in the open forum, and everybody was in agreement that it is a very high traffic area and a narrow street. The way I look at it is, we can't pick and choose. We either are all for safety or we're not. And for that fact, I'm putting this as a recommendation. Actually, I'm putting a resolution in for us to take money from the reserve right now and put sidewalks on this street, Old Foxbrook Road. Now, I might be shut down like I was before for Hemlock, but you know what? All I can say is that my conscience will be clear that I tried, I believe in this, and I will try again for Hemlock in the future, and we'll see what happens then. But for now, this is what I would put. I will put a resolution in to put a sidewalks for Hemlock, and for the road that goes from Babe Mason's Way to the soccer field, that could be something that could go to the budget deliberation next year. Thank you.
That's a motion?
That is a motion.
Is that motion for both of them, Councillor Wan?
Yes, so, well, it's two different motions. The first motion would be for sidewalks on Foxbrook Road. The second motion would be to look at the expanding a dirt road from Babe Mason's Way to the soccer field all the way to Old Foxbrook Road in the back for budget deliberation. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, second it. On the question, I will mention that we have no costing available until the fall. The engineer said it'll be the fall before it gets to us, so we've never approved anything before without costing on it, safety related. That's just a comment. Is there any other comments from the council, the other council members?
Your Worship, we work within budgets, and I feel that this should be a budget item come the spring. I know they have a lot of problems in the area. Susan and I have a lot of problems on McGregor Avenue with the two ball fields up there, and there's no sidewalks. So I think I cannot honestly pass this motion this evening without numbers, knowing what it's going to cost the town.
Just a rough estimate. Blaine figured around 200,000. That's rough.
That was solely
Rough.
for concrete.
Rough. Yes.
So once you put the sidewalk in, you also have to curb and gutter it for drainage?
A sidewalk would require curb and gutter, and that's what he gave me a rough estimate on. I'm not holding him to his word.
Councillor Campbell, you have anything to say on it?
I agree with Councillor Pence.
Okay, so we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor, by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Nay. I'll break the tie with a nay. The reason being there's no costing available to us. It should be a priority for sure, but we have to figure out how much it's going to cost to be responsible to the taxpayer dollar before we actually commit to it. The engineer said in the fall he'll find some numbers for us. Then we'll be able to, whoever the council is next budget cycle, will be able to deliberate at that point and hopefully make a decision that's in your guys' wishes.
So I'll ask a question. Can we make a motion for next year, or can we make,
No, I don't think. we
No,
can
you can't
vote
make a
on it.
motion.
can we make a recommendation?
You can make a recommendation.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to make a recommendation that next year that they put this in the budget.
Thank you.
Put it in the budget or look at it.
He's
as a
recommending.
Budget item.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, any further discussion?
It's a recommendation.
Yeah, and we do all feel like it needs something that has to go up there. I will say sidewalks are super controversial. I don't know if everyone in the neighborhood agrees with them or not. They'll take half the front lawn away. I know in my street, Claremont, I wanted to put some sidewalks on there, but the neighborhood was up in arms about the idea of sidewalks taking up half their front lawn. So you might want to make sure you have consensus amongst your neighbors before that decision is made here at council. But
Yeah, yes, your worship, that's the other thing that, is that have to get Blaine to go up and do a study on it and come back with it. And the other thing is neighbors will all have to be in agreement to do it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Your worship, I'm going to go on record, and I'm going to say that, in my opinion, safety trumps the concerns of losing your 5 feet off your front lawn. That has been my stance since Hemlock. It's still my stance right now, and that would be my stance going forward. I'm not going to change. I understand residents' concern, but at the end of the day, I would like to put our kids first, and I strongly believe about Hemlock because it's a narrow street, and when there's snow, it's even narrower. And again, you guys don't live there, so you don't drive it every day, but I drive it every day, and I understand when there's snow and there's the amount of walkers with their dogs or with their kids, it's dangerous. And thank God we haven't had an accident yet. Thank you.
Councillor Wan, I agree with you. But the thing too is on Hemlock, that's another thing we'd have to do is are the neighbors willing to give up that piece of land? The same as the mayor ran in, he had people down his back because he wanted to put the sidewalk up for safety. So we'd have, if maybe sometime if you want to speak to the neighbors and see, I know Brian Moore said one time he didn't mind if they put a sidewalk along there.
Yes, I have heard people for and people against inside of Valley Woods. This is not for entire Valley Woods. I know that the town cannot afford to put sidewalks every street in our town. I'm asking for one street that is the heaviest walk from a pedestrian and from a kids going to the pond, which is very well used and skated on all the winter long, and then the playground played all year long. That's all I'm asking for, but that's for a different time. It's not for a discussion right now. But I just want to go on the record saying I understand the concerns, but for me, safety trumps everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wan. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to item 4, reports from staff. 4A is Chief Mark Hobeck, Stellarton Police Service. Reports included. We met last week, I believe it was, to review it. Any questions or comments? 237 calls for service, which is about what the average seems to be lately.
And for council's information as well, Chief Hobeck has started his services with Westville today.
Well, today's the first day of sharing the chief with Westville. It's good news.
Your worship, was it also mentioned about the fact that we have another policeman on through the day?
Yes, so thank you, Councillor Pence. Council has agreed to, so currently in the budget, we have room for 3 officers, 2 term and 1 part-time. It was asked of council to consider making those permanent full-time positions for recruitment and retention purposes. Council did approve that, along with approving an extra officer, so that would be 4 officers now at full-time, meaning that currently what they have is 2 officers on per shift. Now this will bring it to 3 officers on per shift.
At what cost?
So approximately, because of all the extra officer plus the making the other three positions permanent, we're looking at $200,000 on the budget.
Okay, thank you. I just thought that the taxpayers of the town should know.
And the main reason for it is we're having trouble finding officers who will work part-time or term positions. So in order to adequately staff the department, we need to go to some full-time positions.
Just to add to that, in our conversation, the chief shared with us his thoughts on trying to recruit, and we're not the only one in this situation. Almost every police department in the province and the RCMP are struggling. So it's a very competitive market out there, and in order for us to keep our police force and service our residents, that's something that we couldn't move away from. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great. I think the transparency is good.
Agreed. And having our own police force allowed us to do community policing. So to highlight that, there was foot and bike patrol at 34 hours last month, and traffic enforcement at 37 hours, with community relations at 19 hours. So they're out in the community doing work, so that's good to see. Any further questions or comments on the police report? Have a motion, please.
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Nancy, thank you. 5B is Fire Chief Michael Selvlin's reports enclosed. Any questions or comments on that? There are 8 calls a nay, nothing of too serious of a nature.
I'll second that motion, Your Worship. And
Thank
the fire trucks look good in the July the 1st parade.
Oh, yeah, the new one, too. Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Nancy, thank you. 4C is Paige Draper, Marketing Communications Report. Any questions or comments on that? I'd like to thank Councillor Pence for emceeing the Davis Day while I was away. I heard, by all accounts, did a really great job of that, and that's part of the Paige's report here. That's why I brought it up. Is there anything else anyone would like to highlight? Okay, could I have a motion, please?
I so move.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Wan, seconded by Deputy Mayor Campbell. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. Next is 4D, Blaine Murray, the town engineer. Is the water report as well as the public works report.
Your button, right?
What's happening there? I want to bring something up that it's not on the report, but it's a problem that we dealt with a number of years ago, and that's Grant Street. Grant, they're getting flooded out again. So anyway, look at that, and so the engineer Blaine is going to talk to the community college, because the community college, the engineer there, he thought they had plans to put in catch basins and that to help alleviate the water, so that's there. The other thing too is I want to bring up is the fact that there's homes in that road now, and we might have to extend the pavement. So, but we have to work that out, I guess, with the community college.
I agree. I had a similar conversation with the engineer about a month or two ago that should be extended the pavement of this road. There's homes on there now.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to talk to community college first, he had to get cost share it. So
Yeah.
that's the same.
So it'd be good if right now what's happening, I've got an email, is the water west side. The water is coming down the west side. A number of years ago, we put culverts in from the east to the west because the west is a lower elevation. But when the water comes down, it causes the east side to back up because the water can't get through the culverts because it's flooded. So that's an issue that's back to bite us again.
Okay. Thanks for highlighting that for us again. Anything else on the water or
Your Worship, I have a question if Susan could ask the town engineer. There's a cut on McGregor Avenue. They had a water leak or something in that area. It hasn't been paved in about a month.
Is that where the sinkhole was?
No,
No? Okay.
no, this
down in
is,
front of Trinity?
yes.
Okay.
And it
Oh, yeah, that's
seems
bad.
to be there
That's bad.
for quite a while,
Okay.
and it is bad. I mean, they do their best to keep it filled in, but as soon as it rains, it's...
Okay. I'll find out for you.
Yeah, I feel it's a hazard because sometimes when you hit it, like, your whole front end just shakes.
Okay.
Yeah, see if you can get at that.
I assume that they're waiting for it to sell because it looks like it's dipping a little bit and then they're refilling it. That's what I assume, but I don't know.
Okay, I'll check on that for you.
Yeah.
It is noticeable.
Okay.
So did we get a motion on that? No. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd just like to mention on the engineer's report, the curves are done in Oxford, Poplar Crest, and Poplar Street North. Scott Avenue pavement is complete. We're underway right now, top half of Claremont. We're getting close to being the end of that, hopefully. And we're also working on Kirk Avenue, the water sewer project. So we have a lot of work going on. Some's completed, some is in progress. Just take the engineer's leadership on this.
I'm sorry, I'll make a motion to accept the engineer's report.
Second it.
Moved by Councillor Knight, seconded by Councillor Pence. All those in favour, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. And number 5 is correspondence. 5A is Healthy Pictou County.
Yes, so Healthy Pictou County is the group that helps with doctor recruitment and healthcare professionals for Pictou County. They will be doing a monthly report from here on out, so your report is in your package. It's quite a detailed report. It seems to be going very well, and they have lots of activities on the go, and yeah, things are progressing well with that.
So it looks like they got 3 new family doctors.
Family medicine residents. Is that a doctor? Doctors in
Family
training.
residents, so they're student doctors, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yep,
That's right.
but they are technically doctors, yes.
Where they staying? I
Look
see
like
one's a
local.
Sobe, hope they
Yes.
stay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my name in.
We need a motion to it or just information?
Just information.
Okay. 5B.
So just for your information, it is the financial statements for the Pictou Antigonish Regional Library for year ended March 31st. And they have their annual report for your information as well.
And they lost a little bit of money. I think the Eric Stackhouse mentioned how they need to look for some more source of funding to continue the operation sustainably. But thank him for sharing that with us, and we'll move on to C.
So September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and Prostate Cancer Foundation Canada is asking landmarks across Canada to light up in blue for one day, 1 week, or all month to raise awareness for the #1 cancer in men. In 2023, they had over 130 locations light up, and they're hoping to get to 175 this year.
Do we acknowledge it, Susan?
Yes, so we do have colored lights in front of the town hall.
Yeah.
That we do different things. I can't recall if we did this one last year, but
But
it's not
could we-
uncommon. Yes, we certainly have the capability to do that.
You need a motion on it?
Yes, I would need a motion.
I move.
I'll second it.
Okay, and how would, like, a day?
For a week.
A week?
Fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a good compromise. So moved by Councillor Knight, second by Councillor Pence. No further questions. All those in favour, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. 5D is the Office of Engagement for Equity and Anti-Racism.
Yes. So if council will recall, back in 2020, I believe it was, each municipality needed to have an accessibility plan. So this is the same kind of concept where municipalities now require to have an equity and anti-racism plan in place by April 1st, 2025. So I just wanted council's information that we will be starting that process and getting into. I'll be speaking with Paige Draper on how we can get that project started.
Yeah, Susan, would the county do that as a group?
Well, it's a great question, Councillor Pence, and when I asked back in 2018 when we were starting the accessibility plan if that was something that we would consider, the answer at that time was no. I certainly can put the ask out again. I wouldn't expect any.
Well, it would be great if all the 5 towns worked together on this issue.
Correct.
So if you could put it
I will
forward.
definitely put it forward.
Maybe the mayors and wardens on July 22nd. They want
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
certainly put it on that agenda. Good idea.
Thank you.
Do we know the details, if we need a committee and stuff yet? or-
Well, I haven't gotten into it yet, I just received this last week. So, but they do have like guidelines and for municipalities, so first question I asked is if we needed a committee like we did for accessibility, and I didn't get to that part in the guideline book yet.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 6, committee of the whole report. There is no report.
No, because we had 2 meetings in June. We
Oh, all right.
postponed the meeting in May to June, so we did everything we needed to do in that meeting.
Okay, so we'll move on to a temporary borrowing resolution. So this is for 2 sidewalk plows for Public Works, to keep our sidewalks clean and safe in the wintertime. For $361,300, that's for 2 sidewalk plows.
So move.
I have to read it. Whereas Section 66 of the Municipal Government Act provides that the Council of the Town of Stellarton, subject to the approval of the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, may borrow to expend funds for capital purchase authorized by statute. Whereas the Council of the Town of Stellarton has adopted a capital budget for this fiscal year required by Section 65 of the Municipal Government Act, and are so authorized to expend funds for capital purposes identified in their capital budget. And whereas the specific amounts and description of the projects contained in Schedule A attached, that's those 2 sidewalk plows. Be it therefore resolved that the authority of the Section 66 Municipal Government Act, the Council of the Town of Stellarton borrows sum or sums not exceeding $361,300 for the purpose set out above, subject to the approval of the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. The sum be borrowed by the issue and sale of the debentures of the Council of the Town of Stellarton to such an amount as the Council deems necessary. That the issue of the debentures be postponed pursuant to Section 92 of the Municipal Government Act, and the sums or sums not exceeding $361,300 in total be borrowed from time to time for any charter bank or trust company doing business in Nova Scotia. The sum borrowed be for a period not exceeding 12 months from the date of approval of the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing of this resolution. That the interest payable on the borrowing be paid at the rate to be agreed upon. That the amount borrowed be repaid from the proceeds of the debentures when sold. So this is a temporary borrowing resolution. It's only put in place so we borrow temporarily until there's actually bond sales done twice a year. So that's it. So if I can have a motion on that, the Council.
So move.
Yeah. Second.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Pence, second by Deputy Mayor Campbell. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, most carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to mutual aid agreement.
Yes, so the mutual aid agreement was drafted by a mutual aid agreement committee made up of different firefighters across the county. And Chief O'Sullivan sent this to me last week. It just says, in preparation for the meeting, please see attached draft. Following both the December and March meetings, only 1 email of feedback was returned to Secretary Evan Murray, and those minor amendments were added to the final draft, which included the addition of DNA, Dexter Nova Alliance for the sections of Highway 104 that they cover, and a small piece about waiting to be requested via mutual aid and not calling the IC to offer assistance in the middle of an incident. In essence, if you needed, you would be called for, and do not invite yourself. There was also a suggestion about adding the rehab group into it, but until we get some clarification on the status of that group and how it is deployed, they left it out. It can be added anytime down the road once those details are known. That was the only feedback received since this document was first presented in December, so the committee is assuming the rest is satisfactory. They plan to move the adoption of this document as the new agreement. Each department representative will need to take it back to their respective CAOs, signing authority for signatures. Once all signatures are received from the participating departments, we will consolidate into one document. And the Mutual Aid Agreement Committee consists of Ross White, Sean McLaughlin, Nathan Smith, Justin McCullough, Greg Evans, Brandon McDonald, and Dave Sponicle.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? It's nice to see that they come to an agreement. This is a super important piece of, I guess, legislation or an agreement
Yes.
that
Very
all
much
towns
so.
rely on.
Yeah.
If there's a fire in Glasgow, we can go to that. If there's a fire here in Stellarton, we need them, they come to us, and the same for all the other towns in the county. So it's worked very well in the past, and we're really pleased, I believe, as a council to see it formalized once again.
Susan, the Firemen's Association, they did not approve it yet.
No, so what their next step was to bring it back to the councils
Yeah.
and get their approval and then go from there.
I read all through it, and it looks good. I have no issues with it. So you need a motion?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
I'll make a motion that we accept the agreement, mutual agreement.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Knight, second by Councillor Pence. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried, Nancy, thank you. Open forums, anyone like to speak at the open forum? Okay,
They're based on radar, thing.
we'll press the button.
They have posted a radar up onto the street, but it's not hooked up.
It's not displaying the numbers?
It is,
No number shows on it or nothing.
it is hooked up.
It's in stealth mode.
It's in what they call stealth mode. So when drivers come up the street, they think it's not working. They do it both ways.
Okay,
Yeah, no, that's what they call stealth mode. A lot of people get confused with that. It's on, it's recording, but it's just not showing up.
Okay.
And that's what they do, they put it on regular, people come up to slow down, and then they put it on stealth to compare what happens when the sign was not picking up.
okay. We noticed that there wasn't showing any numbers, so it's,
No, it's good.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Next council meeting is Monday, September 9th.
It seems so far away, doesn't it?
Would you like to speak to it? Yeah. Sorry. Press the button.
On the Bay Mason Way road going in there, you guys made that 2 motions. It should have been on 1 motion for the Bay Mason Way road to go in. When Councillor Pence was talking about McGregor, there's 2 ball fields out there, and there's 2 ball fields, 3 soccer fields, and a complex up Parkway. We only have 1 street into that complex. On McGregor Avenue, they have 2 exits, and one of the exit branches off of multiple ways. But when we looked at it, Brian and Steve Simon looked at it after the last council meeting. All it requires is a culvert on one end and some gravel to level it out to the old Foxbrook Road. And the rest of that road is pretty solid all the way out there. I would like to see that motion just on the Bay Mason Way extending through the old Foxbrook Road. And I don't think it's a whole lot of money to do that. And I think that should be a motion on its own rather than tied in with the sidewalk. The sidewalk's a different issue than have an exit to the complexes up there.
Agreed. So when the engineer looks at it, we'll give him the cost of 2 different options. So we make sure we have the numbers for both of them. And then we can discuss, the council can consider them at that time, at the budget time next year.
Your worship, when I was talking to Blaine on the issue, he said he could get Weeks to go up and give him a cost on it.
Oh, good, perfect. Yeah. It's on the radar. Okay, next council meeting is Monday, September 9th, 2024, 5:30 PM here at the council chambers. With that, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Thank you, Councillor Pence, meeting adjourned.